Congressman LaTourette, thank you for joining us this week in the post-shutdown Washington, D.C., where things have returned somewhat to normal.
Right.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the fallout from the shutdown and the debt default battle, namely the deal that we put together, that was put together to open the government back up, created this new budget super committee. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, a couple things happened. One is they moved the debt ceiling to February the 7th, and they continued the government funding to January the 15th. A lot of people think that all they've done is sort of defer it to those dates, and we're going to have the same mess again. But the good news is that the House and the Senate have appointed conferees. They had breakfast together, which is always a good sign.
Oh, there you go.
And they're going to begin to meet to try and iron out the differences. In my view, the differences are too dramatic between the Senate budget put together by Senator Murray and the House budget put together by Congressman Paul Ryan. But they're going to try and marry those two. The other development was this week that Mitch McConnell, who is being called a traitor and a betrayer down in some quarters of Kentucky and has drawn a Tea Party opponent, has indicated that we're not shutting the government down again over Obamacare. At the same time, you have Senator Ted Cruz of Texas who's saying, "Oh, yes, we are." So it's to be determined, but at least for the moment, both sides appear to be at least putting on a public face of trying to talk and work these things out.
And at least talking is a first step.
Talking is very important.
Well, there is an issue that we may actually see some movement on, and that's the water resources bill.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it passed 418 to 3 or 417 to 3, something like that. So, and that was a refreshing sign, because this is a bill called the Water Resources Development Act. They stuck an extra R in it this year, so it's the Water Resources Reform Development Act. And that was designed to get conservative support and so on and so on. But even with that support, the usual suspects, the Club for Growth and Heritage Action, sent out alerts saying that it was spending more money, and then, therefore, conservative Republicans, please vote against it. A lot of people thought that they may peel off some votes, but at the end of the day, it was just 3. And so the bill at its core just basically authorizes water projects for the Corps of Engineers to do relative to flooding and flood control and dredging and things of that nature. So for a moment, we have a nice bipartisan rush in the House of Representatives. The Senate bill passed by a big margin earlier this year, and now they'll have a conference, and based upon the margins, you'd think we might have a water bill.
Well, moving from a topic on something where it looks like we're going to actually get something passed to something where it doesn't look like we're getting anything passed, right. Immigration. With the end of the battle over the budget, or at least kicking the can down the road some, the president has turned his attention to the immigration reform debate, urging Republicans in the House to pass comprehensive reform. Any chance that's happening?
No.
We're done now.
I mean, here's the deal. I think that there are some potential votes amongst Republicans for immigration reform, but the president continues to be such a polarizing figure relative to Republicans that most House Republicans believe that if they bet on comprehensive reform, and again, it's the pathway to citizenship that a lot of Hispanic groups are interested in, and it's border security that a lot of conservative groups are interested in. That's what makes it comprehensive. A lot of Republicans are convinced that the president will go ahead with the pathway to citizenship, but do nothing on the border security piece. And it continues to be this lack of trust between the two branches that I think dooms this to the dustbin of 2013. Now, maybe next year, or maybe after the midterms, but you're not going to see anything this year.
Well, I know one of the topics that's been brought up is the White House and Democrats say, well, the votes exist on the floor to do this, so let's waive the Hastert rule, which Speaker Boehner did to his credit on the government shutdown deal. No chance that's happening when it comes to immigration, is it?
No, it's not going to happen, because even if just in a generic sense you said there are a number of Republican votes for comprehensive immigration reform, that doesn't translate into enough votes if Boehner were to just say, let's put the Senate bill on the floor and have an up or down vote on it. I don't think that the two are the same thing. These House Republicans who would be willing to vote for comprehensive immigration reform still would like to make some adjustments to the Senate bill.
Well, on from a subject that the White House wants to talk about to one that they don't particularly want to talk about, and that's been the pretty disastrous rollout of Obamacare. I think everyone has kind of been familiar with all of these stories about the technical glitches and problems with the website and problems with signing up. Does this have political legs, and what can the White House do to kind of right the ship here?
Well, it does have legs, and if in fact it doesn't get better, it really has the opportunity to doom the president's signature piece of legislation. And you actually have had some Democratic members of the Senate calling out and asking the president to do what Republicans were demanding that he do during this budget shutdown, and that is delay the individual mandate until 2015 and kick it down the road for another year. And the news reports are coming out, and basically that this computer program and system that they put in place, nobody ever tested it to actually take somebody from when they call to when they apply and could actually see if it could enroll them. And as a result, it's no coincidence that the administration is not revealing how many people have signed up, because most people think it's a pretty pathetic number at this moment in time. People are getting frustrated, and when they get frustrated, the fear is that they're not going to go back to these websites, and they're therefore not going to access this particular program. It's bad news for the administration. Health and Human Services Secretary Sebelius is under a lot of pressure.
It's been a bad couple of days for her.
And she's going to be on the Hill this week testifying, and I don't expect that to go well. Now, based upon what we just saw during the government shutdown, the only thing that can save Obamacare at this moment in time is and the rollout, is if the Republicans overplay their hand again. and my money's on the Republicans overplaying their hand, so I think the president's going to be okay. But short of that, this is a mess. And they brought in, they've assigned somebody to be the new guru of fixing the problem. But as I understand it, it's pretty widespread. It's a big problem, and people are talking about months, not days.
Final question for you on this. There's been a lot of talk about what this says about Obama's kind of management style. This is his signature piece of legislation. His legacy really is going to be ride or fall on the success of Obamacare. The White House has seemed pretty much to say it's not our fault. To kind of step back from it a little bit. Yeah. What does this say about Obama's management style, that this issue, the single most important issue to his legacy, was kind of left to chance that,
the problem with Obamacare is that it's become an idea and a concept rather than a program and a thing. And by that I mean Republicans have so demonized it, and the president and his people act as if it came down with Moses
right.
on the tablets, and neither one is right. I mean, it has some good parts, it has some bad parts, it has some parts that need to be improved, it has some parts that need to go away. But because everybody's sort of hanging out in their own foxholes, that rather than making sure that it went smoothly, making sure that it was a success, they were so busy defending or attacking it that this is, in my opinion, what you've wound up with.
Well, I have a funny feeling over the next couple of weeks and months, we'll have a lot more time to talk about Obamacare. Congressman Latourette, once again, thank you very much.
It's good to be with you.